Alright. Hello everybody and welcome back to Game Over Cancer Fall 2021. We're ready here to get underway with Metroid Fusion 100% by noxiousnick, and Rosu's back for commentary. So yeah, let's hear it. The Metroid block is still going strong, and we're expecting a strong continuation of that with this 100% run of Metroid Fusion. So noxiousnick, take it away.
Alright, I'll go ahead and get started because this is a long run, so I'll count down and then I guess I'll let Ross do the another intro of Metroid Fusion. So I'll start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, well, sorry Nick, I don't have a fancy intro for you. I spent a long time trying to figure out destructors. I totally forgot about yours.
Oh no.
Well, we have one of the best GBA Metroid runners, noxiousnick, who quite recently has been taking over the leaderboards, bopping everybody left and right here. He's going to show us how it's done on Metroid Fusion 100%. No shenanigans, no memory corruption, good old plain old vanilla in Japanese speedrun here. So we mentioned earlier during Destructor's run that Japanese is faster than English for RTA. So naturally, Nick here chose to play on Japanese, which will cut some cutscenes by a few minutes. Just like any run goes, we start off killing the poor Hornode. I mean, someone's gotta die here early, and too bad it's the Hornode. But it's just like every other run. You do the same motion here. Killing the Hornode, picking up the missiles, and continuing on from there. The first deviation we'll see from the previous run is right after talking to Adam here again in the main deck, where Nick will pick up an extra pack of missiles.
Yeah, I think I haven't measured anything, but I want to say I'm going to be picking up a lot more items than Destructor, but then the Japanese text is going to save me a lot of time. Yep. So we might get to power bombs around the same time, I think. I haven't measured anything. I just thought of that during the last run.
What time do you get power bombs? 40 minutes?
Something like that. 50 minutes? Yeah, I'll be a little behind Destructor. Or Destructor's memory corruption, I mean. You do save a lot of time in the any percent categories by not picking up any items, though. That is a good way to go fast.
For sure. But can you go fast with all the items?
I'm gonna try. They do weigh you down. There's a lot of power bombs in this game.
I
don't know where she carries them.
74, right?
Yeah, 74. I do like how this game and Zero Mission both have a tell at the end of the game to tell you if you have all the items, with Zero Mission giving you Mecha Ridley differences. In this game, you pick up the ice core, and you should have 250 missiles and 74 power bombs.
Yep. And if you're wondering why there's so many missiles and power bombs compared to, let's say, Super Metroid, the reason why is because we don't have super missiles as a separate selectable item. Therefore, since the game needs you to collect 100 items, and you don't have that extra category of missiles, it just overloads you with extra E-tanks and power bombs. I think this game has the most E-tanks in any Metroid game.
Yeah, also the major items don't count towards percentages either, and that's a good dozen or more items that aren't items. Which is one of the reasons why 0% is a thing in this game, where you can collect all the major items but not have a percentage of items.
Yeah, it's really interesting why they decided to do that. Every other Metroid game includes the major item as part of the item collection. Percentage, at least. Nick with a very nice double there.
I wasn't sure if I got the first one, so I went for the second one, so one of them worked.
And we we see a hidden E-tank here. We'll be seeing a lot of these.
Yeah, Fusion has so many items that there's actually quite a few rooms that are just hidden little puzzles just to get more items.
Yeah, and there are some rooms that have like 3 items in the same room, just to, you know, make sure that they have their quota.
Pretty good morph fight. I don't think Destructor got any rolls on Arachnus either, so we're good. We're no rolls, 2 for 2.
No, bakery is closed today. These poor zombies, I just realized that no matter how many times you shoot them, they just come back to life. And it sucks if you were the zombie and you're just like, I don't want to come back to life, but nope, I have to come back to life.
Yep. And you just get one shot too.
I wonder, I never actually found out or checked. Does Screw Attack actually permanently destroy a zombie?
I don't think I've ever screw attacked a zombie either. I wonder if I'll get a chance to find out at the end of the game. I don't remember where the last ones are.
Oh. I know that they disappear during your final visit, but I don't know if... now that I'm just wondering, because now randomizer is now a thing, right? And you can have Screw Attack with the zombies there, so I just wonder.
There is, during the old route, and at the beginning of cleanup when you leave Sector 1, you used to go through a room that had zombies in it, because you could freeze 1 or 2 of them for fun, because they're just on the way.
Oh.
So if I was doing the old route, I could try it out, but that's kind of out of the way now with the changes.
Yeah.
And I want to go fast, so we might not.
Yeah,
find
we gotta
out.
go fast. For sure.
We'll do some science later after the marathon.
Maybe that'll open the door for Japanese version shenanigans like Out of Bounds. Who knows? And we are back in Sector 1. Nick has more missiles to deal with here, so missile management. It's still a thing, having 25 missiles, but you get more leeway with 5 extra.
And also gonna have extra health, so there's one room that you run through and you try not to touch any of the amoebas to take any damage, and now it doesn't matter because you'll pick up an extra health tank right afterwards.
Yep.
Much safer. Oh, see, I got a little slurped by one of the amoebas and lost 4 health, so usually in an any percent run, that 4 health would cause 1 less missile pack, like it already did. Oops. A little sloppy today, but the E-tank helps me later.
Yeah, and in an any percent run, getting touched by one of those things can just cascade into all kinds of problems. Mostly regarding health and ammo issues. But this is 100%, so we should be alright here.
And that's one of the things I like about the 100% runs, is it's trickier to get the items to get 100%, but once you start getting items, the run itself becomes a lot more laid back. You don't have as many oh no moments with less health and ammo. Although the SAX is still a threat. A little bit less of a threat in some rooms, but still very much a threat in this game, even with all the health.
Yeah. A little bad RNG there for the stabilizer. 2 more to go.
I got lucky there, the second to last pirate filled up my health, so the last pirate gave me some extra missiles to work with.
Yep, And you should be good for ammo here. Idor requires 3 missiles, and the Corex requires 4 missiles. I don't know if you're going to be spicy or not. Skip the red X here.
Maybe not today, because I could go for doubles and start wasting missiles. Oh, just like that.
Okay, that's a double. Very nice.
I'm gonna get some extra ammo here. Just.
One thing about 100% that will make people realize is that the red X doesn't actually fill you up all the way. It gives you like 300 or 400 health and a handful of ammo, but it doesn't actually cap you like it would appear to in any percent.
Fortunately, as long as I don't take too many damage from too many things, it should still look like it's capping me out if I'm close to full. But if things get hairy, we'll start to see the limits of what's gonna fill me up.
Very nice movement here. Going to the last stabilizer.
Oh yeah, I heard you and Destructor talking about shot cancels in the previous run, where you
Oh yeah.
you shoot as you're moving above the platform to immediately land and continue moving up instead of waiting to fall down. And there's a couple rooms like that one that really show off just how much quicker your movement can be when you nail the timing down.
Yep. And I'll explain it further here. As you saw there, Nick actually did one. Shot canceling, what happens is when you're trying to jump over onto a platform, shooting or getting out of spin jump, and shooting being the easiest way, actually forces Samus down a pixel or two, which makes you land faster. So when you hover over a platform and you shoot, it looks like you just magically grab the platform. I guess Super Metroid will call it ledge grabbing. We don't call it ledge grabbing here because there is actual ledge grabbing with your hands. So we call it shot canceling. And once you shot cancel and you put Samus on the ground faster, then you're able to jump again sooner, which makes vertical platforming look very nice in this game.
And that's one of those little movement things that add up throughout the entire run. It might save you a half a second or a handful of seconds in a room or two, but if you can do it everywhere throughout the whole run, it saves you minutes by the end just by how optimized it gets.
Yep. And if you are a beginner or speedrunner of this game, we try to kind of get you into the habit of trying to shot cancel everywhere you go, just so that you don't have to worry about it later, since it is a fundamental skill to have in this game.
We just got introduced to the SAX there. Kind of flew past us, but she's there.
Yep. Would you classify SAX as a ghost?
I don't know. I think being corporeal makes you a ghost, or whatever is the word for going through walls. I don't think blowing up the walls beforehand counts as being a ghost.
That's true. SAX is not a ghost for now.
I thought a zombie clone was more the horror theme they're going for in this game. Or maybe just a regular zombie that's very familiar. I guess while we're talking about the fundamentals of fusion, another thing for beginners to learn when they're getting into this game is to try and always be on the ground as much as possible when you don't have to be in the air, because your movement speed in the air is very slow. So every time you have a jump to make, you want to jump as late as possible and land as soon as possible, and so on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of corners that get cut to make that happen.
I believe the horizontal speed in the air is half the ground speed.
Sounds about right. And here's about the point in the run where you'll really see divergences between 100% and any of the other runs. Because a lot of the items are kind of on the way and you can get them for safeties in other runs, but here's where you actually have to go out of your way to start getting items.
Yep. Just like this one. We don't normally go up here during any percent, but since there's an item here, we'll go ahead and pick it up. And the interesting thing about items like this, compared to any percent, is that it messes with the enemy position in the room. So you'll see these Zoros here be in strange places that you might not be used to them seeing, not be used to seeing them at, if you were an any percent runner, and it will just kind of throw off your game a little bit.
Yeah, and a lot of the items we're picking up now just because they're still on the way, and we'll be coming back through these sectors a couple times later, but we're not coming back here or anywhere close to it. But every sector does have a cleanup portion where at the very end of the game we'll go through and pick up stuff that we can't get until the end of the game. Except for Sector 4.
That blue Zoro that you saw is one of the tankiest enemies in the game. And it guarantees a red X drop. For some reason it's there. I don't know why they decided to add that Zoro. It's a very unique enemy at being the only one of its kind and also being a normal enemy. It's really interesting.
I think there's one other blue Zoro in the game, but it's not somewhere you ever go in the speedrun. It's in one of the dead end rooms that's supposed to guide you to the boss room where we're going now. I think it's the room under this room, I think, because on a normal playthrough it's obvious to try and go this way, and you end up in that morph tunnel and you're supposed to feel lost and confused. And I think the blue Zoro is behind this wall.
Huh.
It is very tanky though. It takes like 30 missiles or something absurd to kill it.
Yeah, and it gets faster when you hit it.
Yeah.
It's funny. We have Zazabi, as I mentioned earlier. It can jump between 3 to 12 times, 3 being the optimal and what you want to see, and 12 being the worst and what you don't want to see. Nick is actually getting very good RNG here, getting the minimum on that second phase.
Got 8 jumps
so,
this time.
8 jumps? 8 jumps is okay, it's average. Oh, a standing double. Very nice. And I was surprised with the standing double because typically you would see Nick or any other runner when they attempt vertical doubles on these core X's that they will shoot one, jump, and then shoot another one. But seeing a standing double is very rare, and I think that it happens because it's plan B. You know, it's not something that you normally do.
He flew at a weird angle, so I figured I'd try it out. Oh, I missed the setup for the SAX skip. This is supposed to be an easier skip on 100%, but if you mess up the setup, you can still... you'll certainly die to it.
Yep. SAX can still ruin your day. As you see here, the evolution of this sector, the Zoros have now become cocoons. And when you revisit this, you'll see them turn into something else.
Alright, that's it for the first trip to Sector 2. We got a couple extra missiles and an extra E-tank. Nothing too crazy yet. Still a lot of run left.
And here we have a Japanese Adam telling you to go into Sector 4. I can't remember what he said exactly, but he said there's something going on. Go check it out. So we're going to Sector 4, and we're going to pick up our speed booster for the next major.
Yeah, I want to say Adam is worried about Ceres because he doesn't know Ceres has been infected by the X, so he thinks the real thing is possibly on a rampage and he doesn't know why. He just tells you, go figure it out, go solve that problem, Samus.
See, Adam is misunderstood. He's just caring for the well-being of all the creatures in the lab, you know?
He does save the animals at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Or the animals save him.
I don't know why he has such a bad rep.
Sector 4 is actually one of my favorite sectors in Fusion. The movement throughout these areas is pretty fun to optimize, and the music is nice too.
Yep.
I like the underwater theme to everything. Oops. Come on, Samus. Here's another little divergence from a normal any percent run. You wouldn't normally see someone go way out of their way to get an energy tank up here in a run.
Yeah, I can think of a few other places where it won't cost you this much time to get an energy tank.
And this is actually the point, if I had messed up SAX skip and I was low on health, this is where you get your health back, but it's usually scary to get up here without touching anything on the way.
The very interesting thing about Fusion, I think, is that there are a lot of invisible paths hidden, you know, that you can't really see. You don't have X-ray scope, or power bombs will not expose it. You just have to know that it's there through, you know, exploration or whatever. I know a lot of people, when they first play a Metroid game, they would bomb every tile or power bomb every room or something like that. But there are just some places where you can't really tell, and it makes it hard to get 100% if you were new to the game or just playing it casually.
Yeah, I've noticed, I don't think I ever went for 100% casually, kind of for that same reason, but I noticed in the speedrun that the game tries to hint in adjacent rooms, so you'll be in a room with like a missile that's behind a wall you can't break, and you'll be looking for like a screw block or a bomb block, and there's nothing to give you access. So you go into the next room and just kind of paw at the wall a little bit, and you'll find a hidden passage that you would never have otherwise found if you weren't looking around. So it's not completely unfair, but they are pretty well hidden. Oh, I think I missed a shot on Ceres. It's gonna be a long Ceres fight. Okay.
There you go.
It was shorter than a 5 round, I think, so I got at least 2 of the doubles eventually. Or 2 of the flare shots. We also won't be seeing reverse Ceres in this run because you have to go this way in order to get some more missiles. But some of our runners can actually go out the left side, and I don't know if they're frame perfect or not, but there's some really hard underwater wall jumps you can do to escape the way you came in, where you're not supposed to, and it saves a few seconds.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't go that way here in 100% because we have to pick up these 2 items.
I think we have a few more missile tanks to pick up, and after that, at least the upper half of Sector 4 is almost completely cleared out, so we won't have to come back here for a cleanup later. Except for one power bomb that's right at the entrance, so you just kind of come in and grab it and leave. I also, unfortunately, have to skip out on some of the cool shine sparks in this section of the game that skip some areas, because the areas you skip have missiles in them.
Yeah. I mean, you still could have low-heighted and then come back. Right?
I don't know, I think
is
the
that any
speed blocks,
faster? I don't know.
not for this area, I think. Which, depending on what kind of a runner you are, that could be good news, that you have to get the missiles so you don't have to try for the tricks if you struggle with them, but for most of us it's going slower for 100%.
Well, fortunately, the cleanup part of the game makes up for all the tricks that you have to skip here.
Oh yeah.
So now that we have a speed booster and we took care of Ceres, Adam is going to send us to Sector 3. He said something in Japanese. I can't remember what he said. But we got to go there, and we're going to come up on our next missile upgrade, which is a super missile, and we're going to be fighting Box.
Yeah, I want to say Adam is trying to get you the super missiles in Sector 4, but they're behind the red doors, and then he backtracks and says, no, do not open the red doors. That's not an option. So he sends you across the station instead.
Oh.
So later on, when you do open the red doors, he starts fussing at you because he said no. And we had an objection to that.
Yeah, and there's something that I don't know if you've noticed. Whenever we open the security locks for these doors, certain sectors, like let's say for this one, for example, we're about to open the green doors. As soon as they become unlocked, the X parasites just invade because it's now open, you know? So you'll see here right now, Sector 3 is completely empty. There's no enemy. There's nothing going on. But as soon as we open those doors, all the X parasites just come in, which is a very nice detail to me.
Yeah, I do like how the whole station evolves as the plot is carrying on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
A little backup strat there. It is possible to store a spark to the left. You have just enough room, and then you can spark straight up to save some time there. I think the intended strat is the game wants you to learn how to run and jump up the hills there.
And now we see the parasites invading. And look, the sector has come to life.
I sure hope this sector doesn't start burning to the ground in a few minutes. We wouldn't want the X-Parasite to blow up the station before we save it so that we can blow up the station later.
That's true. And we talked about this missile in a prior run. The one and only quote-unquote unskippable missile.
I saw Destructor get this trick in the last run. There's a very hard Shine Spark to keep here, where you have to slide onto the pad so that it starts loading the animation, and you store the Shine Spark as late as possible. And you have just enough time to re-spark out the door and save some time.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Fortunately, Destructor showed it off because I wasn't able to get it this run.
And I think this missile here is meant to show you the power of the super missile. That barrier not normally being able to... You're not able to destroy it with normal missiles.
I still had to run to the left there to trigger box to show up. Uh-oh. Fortunately, I have a lot of missiles and health to play with box today.
Yeah.
This fight is one of those fights where if you start the fight properly and you end it really fast, there's almost nothing to it. It's over before it starts. But if you mess up the setup, he just starts jumping all over the place and it can really get out of hand. There's actually a couple items in this room that I could get now, but we're going to be coming through this room a couple times throughout the run, and when we come back with other upgrades, it'll be faster to get them with the more movement we'll have available. And at this point in the run, we already have more health and missiles than we would ever need in an any percent run, so it's not like we're short on resources.
Yeah, I mean, any percent, you would have 2 E-tanks and 3 for safety. I think, if I remember right.
I think most people get 3, and there's a few runners that cut it down to 2 for that extra time save.
Yeah, so having 5 right now is already excessive.
Yeah.
For a speedrunner, at least.
But this game does put a lot of health tanks that are right in your path. It wants you to have at least a couple hundred, even if you're not exploring and looking for them. Because by the end of the game, there's some enemies that do over 100 tank of damage, just normal enemies.
Yeah, and you, if you played it casually, you'll really notice how hard enemies hit once you get to Sector 2. So very early in the game, you see those red caterpillars, and they do 45 damage to you, and you have like 2 E-tanks. You'll start to realize how important E-tanks are very early. And there are a few enemies that, like Nick said, do well over 100 damage. Key hunters are specifically, and some of the fish just take 100, and so being low on E-tanks there will really hurt you, especially if you're new to the run or if you're a casual player.
Yeah, another situation is if you're doing a 0% or a 1% speedrun of this game, you wouldn't have any extra E-tanks, and even if you're full on health, if you have all 100 health, you can still just run into a caterpillar and get one shot and died if you aren't paying attention where you're going.
And these ice axes here do, 69 damage?
It's a lot.
Yeah. just touching them could kill you, if you're not careful.
But that's part of what makes running Fusion exciting. If you get enough safeties, you don't have to worry about it, but if you start going for the good times, then it can get tense even if you've already practiced and you're good at the game. Except in 100%.
Yeah, there is a point in 100% where it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, you won't die anymore, because of the health that you have.
Yeah, 100% runs aren't as worried about losing time to deaths, but later on, especially near the end of the game, uh, even though Samus doesn't die, you could mess up some tricks that require shine sparks and speed from a couple rooms ago. Which, Samus is still alive, but your run is dead if you make a mistake in that way.
Yep, more hidden items here. This one's a very interesting room. You get the bomb and then beam. It looks very nice when you do it as a speedrunner.
Yeah, the caterpillars on the ceiling are RNG, and if you get lucky, they're all going to the right, and you can just go up there. But I think I got unlucky, and 2 of them were going left, and the other one was in the way anyway, so I just went ahead and killed all 3 of them.
We have the Mega Forex fight here. Nick is utilizing the flare of that charge beam shot to get a 4 round.
The boss fights are all kinds of sideways today.
There you go. As we mentioned earlier, the flare of the charge beam does an additional 6 damage, which can help for boss fights like this, where the flare will help you get a 4 round versus having to do a 5 round or 6 round without the flare. And guaranteeing that all parts of your charge beam hit the boss by being inside its hitbox and not, hitting the satellite or anything like that.
Yeah, I want to say I heard the math for that fight is the boss has exactly 100 health, and your charge beam does 20 damage. I think there's 2 pieces of 10 damage each.
Yep.
So the flare adds like an extra 6.
Yep.
And cuts a shot off the fight if you get all 4 of them inside the 4X. And now we can see the ice parasites, which were hunting me down previously, are now scared of me because I can absorb them for health like any other parasite. And Sector 6 is very much alive and awake now that I've beaten the boss in this area. There's one of those puffers that moves in any number of 4 random directions, and that happened to be the direction I was going this time.
Yeah, they can be very annoying.
That's actually the room I was thinking of when I was talking about items that you can see through the wall in the room that you're in, but you have to go to another room to get to it. If you go into the floor below the room where all the owls were in, you can see that missile, but you can't get to it without screw attack. So the game kind of hints to you that it's there, and there's another way to get to it. Or if you've already beaten the game before, you can come back with screw attack and just cheat your way to the missile.
Yeah. I remember playing the game for the first time and seeing all these screw attack blocks. I'm like, oh man, when am I gonna get screw attack? And when I finally do, I just forget.
Yeah.
I know that there are a bunch of sectors with screw attack blocks, but I can't remember where they are anymore. So it's interesting how they, almost all of the items can be accessible or have screw attack blocks that show you that you can get it with screw attack, but there are also other ways to get it without it. So it makes it very interesting.
Yeah, and I want to say I'm not 100% on this, but I've heard you actually can't go back to get the items on your first playthrough because once you beat Ridley and get screw attack, I think the game starts, or there's back doors into other sectors, but they're kind of hidden, so it's not likely you'll find all of the back doors on your first playthrough. So eventually you're going to talk to Adam trying to leave a sector, and Adam kind of locks down the path to the final boss, I think. I may have heard wrong, but I think you're supposed to beat the game at least once and then come back, and then the paths are open again, if you haven't found the back doors before.
Yeah, if I remember right, the back doors are not accessible on your first playthrough. And whenever after beating Ridley, the first time you cross a navigation room, Adam will shut off every other path except the one going to SAX.
Fortunately for the speedrun, you don't really have to worry about it because even if if you boot up the game for the first time and you want to play 100%, if you know where the back doors are, you can clear all of the game with Screw Attack before talking to Adam.
Are we gonna see reverse ice?
I don't think we're going to see reverse ice today. I've not spent any time on that.
All right. It is possible to get ice missiles going right instead of left using a very cool Shine Spark trick that I mentioned in Destructor's run. I guess I'll mention it again. Whenever Samus is running off an edge with Speed Booster, you have 1 frame to press down the moment Samus touches the ground, which will allow Samus to store a Shine Spark, which is a very unusual way to do it. There are only 2 areas in a 100% run where it can be useful. One of them is the reverse ice that Nick did not do, and the other one being in lower sector 4, going to the worst room in the game. It's a very hard trick to do, and pause buffering will only slow down your RTA, so it's not worth doing in most cases.
And most of them aren't huge time saves either. They might save you a handful of seconds each. This is, I don't know if we've encountered this yet in this run, but I think this is the first room in the run where you do one of the puzzles where you have to kill an enemy so that the X flies away and reforms into a new enemy that you have to use to solve the puzzle. And there's a couple of those throughout the run.
Yeah. And there are some locked doors that don't open until you kill every enemy, which includes the enemies that die and respawn into another one. So as a casual runner, you kind of you're kind of drawn to picking up the X, and if you do that, you will prevent the X from spawning into another enemy, and therefore just keeping that door locked forever until you reset the room.
There's actually, I hope we don't see it today, but there's another room where the X has a random chance to move to the place where it's gonna spawn the enemy, but it gets stuck in like a perfect circle and it never actually locks onto the enemy.
Yeah.
And it will stay there forever until you leave the room and reset the enemy again.
Oh, what's that?
An emergency?
Did we ever settle on a name for this scientist? Because I heard people wanted to call him Frank based on the song that was written for him.
We make an incentive to name the scientist.
I've heard other
something
people.
We can do.
I've heard some people want to call him Gary, but I think Frank is a better name.
How about Destructor 642?
Destructor, do you want to name the scientist in this run right here? Just to settle it once and for all.
I
It's too much.
I would say that the OG runners of this game have naming rights to the scientist. I've heard a lot of names being thrown at the scientist, so I can't decide. His name is Widecore. There you go.
Oh.
There are a few enemies in the Fusion and GBA universe that have been given common names, such as Bob or Roger, Charlie, and I think it's cool, but I would say that the naming rights go to the OG runners.
That's too much power for me to have right now. Luckily, we saw Destructor worry in this room because he was running low on missiles, and thankfully for 100% item completion, I have more missiles than I know what to do with, so I can make as many mistakes as I want and still get through the room with resources to spare.
You had exactly 20 times the amount of missiles Destructor had.
I can even missile Frank if I want to because I have some left over.
Okay. I still can't get over the fact that this scientist was holding wide. What was he doing with it?
Apparently, he was planning on blowing up the BSL for some reason. Before the X went crazy trying to stop you from blowing up the BSL.
So not only do we have to worry about monsters, we have to worry about insider threats from employees. That's very nice.
I wonder if Frank was a rogue scientist that planned on blowing up the BSL before all this happened anyways, and now he finally got his chance and we put an end to it. I wonder if the X didn't have anything to do with what he was planning on doing.
I still can't get over the fact that the boiler is tucked away behind some lava rooms.
Well, how do you think they get it boiling? It's gotta be pretty hot down there.
I would hate to be the mechanic for this station. Oh, we gotta unlock the green door. Well, I can't crawl into this space that I had to speed boost through first.
Alright, now we're done with emergency. And the emergency section is actually still pretty vanilla. There isn't a lot of extra items on the way this go around. But we'll be back.
Yeah, 100% does a really good job in making sure that you revisit most of the entire map. And it does give you a little bit of satisfaction knowing that things have changed on your next visit. And it's not the same room as you last saw it, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, another neat thing I think is with all the changes to the BSL over the course of the game, I don't think any item is locked out, so if you forget to get an item as you pass it in the beginning, it'll still be there later. The straightforward path might have been destroyed, but there's still a way to collect it. And the only exception to that is Bob, because you have to do some crazy shenanigans to skip Bob that you're not supposed to do. And I think the room is a completely different state when you come back, that they don't expect you to have skipped it, so the next iteration of that room just doesn't include Bob. You're not supposed to have skipped it, I think.
Yep.
Do you mind if I intervene with a little bit of a donation?
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah, because in both this run and the previous run, there's been plenty of talk of doubles and doubles, and now we've got $5 from Only Tugboat saying, "Here's a double for double." Thank you, Tugboat.
There we go. The nice thing about following Destructor's memory corruption run is he got to show off all these cool tricks, and fortunately he nailed most of them. So now in my attempt, even though I'm whiffing some of the cool tricks, we get to see the time save that Destructor saved over not getting them. Where is that third edge? Oh, there he is.
I would say Destructor would be winning at this point.
But we're on the way to power bombs, so once we pick those up, we'll get to see even more of the game that Destructor got to skip all of the end of the game in order to beat it faster. And not only am I going to the end of the game, but then I'm doing a victory lap to see all of the game 2 more times to collect all the items. Now we have Adam telling us to go back to Sector 5 because it's the only one that isn't destroyed or locked for a new power-up.
Oh, while you make your way to Sector 5, can I read out another thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Alright, because we got another $5 from Destructor saying dab. And just for you, I will physically dab. You won't see it on screen, but I just did it.
I'm dabbing right now.
Thanks, Destructor.
Oh, dabbing hurts my arm. I think I'm getting old.
Oh no. Did you remember to stretch before you dabbed?
No.
Oh no.
And we have our Sector 5 revisit. The last time you saw it, it was very peaceful in there. And now, it's still very peaceful. Nothing much has happened yet. Except that there's this shadow lurking around in the back.
I don't think that shadow's important yet. I'm not going to worry about it.
Ah.
I don't think there's any chance he's going to change Sector 5.
So now we have the power bomb, and as you might expect from the power bomb, it can clear out rooms, one-shotting a lot of enemies and clearing the path or exposing new paths in certain rooms. Another small detail about the power bomb is that it creates a vacuum effect after its explosion that will suck in all the parasites to the explosion point.
And while Destructor was content with his 10 power bombs and finished the game with them, I'm gonna go collect about 60 more power bombs before finishing the game.
Oh, yeah.
Not because I need them, but just because they're there.
Oh, is that a little low?
Could be. That is kind of a tricky jump to get all the way up to the ceiling. Oh, that was weird. There are power bomb blocks up here I tried to break early.
And as you can see, Sector 5 is now littered with powerbomb pickups. One thing that one small complaint that runners have about power bombs is that you only have power bombs to get more power bombs, and it doesn't really have any other function other than exposing blocks or breaking blocks earlier than a normal bomb would.
It's going to be especially true in Zero Mission coming up, where the first power bombs in the game are at the very end of the game to open an optional path to the final boss. Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh no. One thing I like about Fusion are these very difficult puzzle rooms.
I might lay another power bomb here just to show off. There's a lot of crumble blocks in Fusion, and a lot of the puzzles are based around avoiding them, so that this is the first of many that... I like to think of them as like Kaizo blocks from Super Mario World. If you don't see them coming, they kind of troll you.
Yeah.
And when you think you've gotten past the first troll, there's another one. And when you think you've solved the puzzle, there's even more at the end. So
It
someone who's
reminds
trying
me
to...
of that one game where it's like Mario, but it's like you. Oh my god, I can't remember. But like people would get so angry at the game because you thought you cleared a level, but then like the wall falls on you or something like that, or spikes just randomly appear, and where you thought you dodged something, like something else shows up.
I think I know what game you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it either. It's probably titled something like the most frustrating game in the world or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's another room towards the end of the game in Cleanup, which is interesting, where the entire room is nothing but crumble blocks, and it's shaped to look like a regular platforming room, but if you try and go in there casually, it's like quicksand. There's just no way across besides jumping over it.
And we see Ridley turn into a parasite. Foreshadowing, maybe?
Oh yeah, Ridley's already dead. So luckily he's gone, he's out of the way. Here's a room where if you get lucky, you can get through there with Speed Booster and skip this missile if you're not going for 100%, but even if you get lucky, you still have to stop and grab the missile.
All right, time to leave. And oh, wait, no, Adam said that there's something going on. And he's curious about these other animals in his ship. It's his ship. It's not Samus's ship.
Yeah, I think... So the animals make it out this time. I don't know if Destructor gave the animals enough time to get out in his run. He left pretty early.
Yeah.
Oops. I want to say that while the animals were heading towards the ship, they got to see Samus just teleport into the end of the game and fly off without them. So maybe Destructor didn't save the animals.
And now we're going to see some bosses that we weren't able to see in Destructor's run.
Yeah, and I always like to point out that this boss is not Arachnus, but it's the spider boss.
Well, this boss is not an arachnid. It only has 6 legs.
Yeah. Oh, I got lucky with the first grab there. He can grab you up to 4 times, and every time is a big time waste, and it's completely random if he does or not. And being this late in a speedrun, it's a little frustrating to lose some time up to randomness this far.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this is the last boss that has major RNG elements.
You could be right. I think Nightmare has a little bit RNG, but not as much as people think. Ridley, I don't know if you'd call Ridley's patterns RNG or if he's just a hectic fight because of how he starts.
Yeah, I think it's just his AI trying to attack you, and he can't fit in the room. It's such a big boss in a very small room. And here we're going to encounter SAX another time. This is the last time before the final battle. And if you were playing this casually, you'll find that SAX will not leave until it finds you or you leave. So hiding will not save you here.
And I'm glad I didn't mess up to show it off, but before now, if the SAX freezes you, you get frozen with the ice beam. But now that we have the Varia suit, if I had gotten hit with the ice beam, it would just kind of like hit me like any normal damage. So the Varia suit protects me from the ice effects at this point.
And one very small and interesting thing about SAX is that whenever SAX gets off a platform or jumps off a ledge, it will always jump off and not fall off. So you could technically crouch in a corner and SAX would do nothing but just keep jumping up and down and up and down, trying to touch you.
I've had some pretty bad eye door luck on this run. I don't usually keep count, but I want to say most doors have given me at least 2 or 3 beams. Usually the luck averages out over the course of a run. You might get a couple bad ones and a couple good ones.
Yeah, I think it just evens out.
But sometimes you can tell you get on a run and you just get the feeling like, man, every door's been bad. I think I'm losing time overall.
I think the lowest amount of beams recorded is 1 beam throughout the entire game.
Dang, do you know who got the 1 beam? That's pretty crazy.
Kadoom, I think, is the runner.
That's before my time. I've heard of legendary Kadoom strats, but I don't think I've talked to him.
Yeah, a very, very, very OG runner. I think he's retired in 2016 or 17. Maybe earlier than that. And as you can see, Sector 2 is now a jungle, basically, and these Zoros have gone through the life cycle stages and have now become key hunters.
Yeah, I like how they managed to fit the entire life cycle into the game, because they were the same red caterpillars on the first visit, which turned into the cocoons on the way out. And now they're, oh gosh, now they're full-blown enemies knocking me off the platforms.
And these are the enemies that we were talking about earlier, where the stinger can hit you for over 100 damage.
Yeah, and the stinger actually has a different hitbox, I believe, so you can land on them and not take 100 damage. But if they stick out their stinger and fly at you, then in a low percent run, you're just instant dead.
Yep.
And even in an any percent run, depending on how well it's been going, you might have less than 100 health and be really worried when you get to the key hunters.
Yeah, it has happened before. I remember a tournament run where one of the runners died to a key hunter.
Oh no.
I can't remember who. Even if I did know, I wouldn't say it though. just so that I don't kind of throw shade at them.
I don't know, I think dying in a tournament run is a plenty of shade.
It's happened to me before, so I know the feel. And I remember a certain commentator who talked about my death in the run at GDQ. So I know how it feels.
Uh-oh. I was just a little late on the Nightmare Spark there.
This is the longest Shine Spark in the game, also the coolest one.
Fortunately, I
as
got the
it
backup.
takes you. Yeah. It takes you through all the damage that shadow in the background did. Very precise block there that if you don't hit it, you'll have to get it after picking up gravity suits. And it is a source of major time loss in a run.
Yeah, there's a couple of those actually. There's a E-tank I'm gonna grab, hopefully the quick way, but if I miss it, I think it costs me about half a minute to loop back around the area and get it the slow way.
Yep. And you can see the devastation throughout Sector 5. The third time we visit, and it's just a mess.
Well, another thing about power bombs I don't think we touched on is that you can't grab a ledge while a power bomb is exploding. If you lay a power bomb and try to climb up into a tunnel, you just slip off of the tunnel. I guess Samus loses her grip.
Yep.
So a lot of
power bomb shakes the room and therefore shakes Samus off the ledge.
yeah.
The same can be said with regards to super missiles and some enemies, where if you hit a super missile and it shakes the room, it'll shake the enemy off the ceiling or wall that it's stuck to.
I actually didn't know about that one. I don't think there's a lot of situations where you're grabbing a wall with a super missile going off. It's none that I've come across.
I don't know if you can actually super missile yourself off of a wall. I want to test that actually. Maybe SAX can shake you off a wall.
Yeah, the main concern with the power bombs is there's actually quite a few items that are up high in the wall behind power bomb blocks. So you want to lay the power bomb and climb into the wall as it's exploding. But then you can't because that's knocking you off the wall. So a lot of those rooms have strategies where you either try to lay the power bomb in a specific place early, or you try to do a cheeky bomb jump to get up there. Which, bomb jumps aren't really a thing in Fusion, but you can try and make them work.
Yep, bomb jumps have a notoriously long fuse timers, or bombs, I'm sorry, and being able to do consecutive mid-air bomb jumps is actually almost impossible in this game. I say almost because Tass can do it, and only Tass can do it. And it requires Samus's vertical speed to be at 0 when the explosion goes off. So the only way that Samus can be launched with a bomb is if she's not moving vertically. So with that in mind, it's almost impossible to successfully do mid-air bomb jumps.
I want to say the way the Tass achieves it is when you morph and unmorph, your speed gets reset briefly in the air.
Yeah.
So it requires like 30 hertz mashing on the D-pad up and down very precisely to stay morphed and unmorphed without falling.
Yeah, and you can only do one, like, as a human, you can only do one mid-air bomb jump through a normalized method using spring ball. Or, with really good timing. But that's about it.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 of them in the run I think that could save time, and we've already passed one because if I got it first try, it would save about a second, and every time I fail it, it costs 5 or 10 or more seconds just from having to re-attempt it. So it's almost never worth going for. I think we have one runner who can pull it off in a run that I know of. There's another one that's almost free to go for because you can't do anything else besides try it. So I'll at least give it a try and probably won't get it, but it doesn't cost any time to try it.
Yeah, you're waiting anyway, so you might as well try it. And Nick is now on his way to unlock the very last of the security doors.
Yep, these are the red doors that Adam told us not to unlock at the beginning of the game because it's too dangerous. But we're left with no choice now. And we'll actually be cleaning up the rest of Sector 4 on this pass. So after we get these items at this time, we won't have to come back to Sector 4 at the end of the game when we're cleaning up the areas.
See, if I was a casual runner, there'd be no way I'd find that path. I can't think of ever figured it out.
I can't think of any hints for that one. A lot of these rooms have little hints that if you know what the hints are, you can kind of see what they're going for, and that one I can't explain.
They just throw everything at you in that pit there. That's funny. It's funny because they know that you have to use a power bomb to expose it, and the power bomb is going to kill things. And the enemies that you kill with a power bomb will respawn into a million fish down there. It's funny.
I got a sneaky missile went under this guy. That's usually like a pixel perfect thing to try and go for, but you don't want it there.
Ooh, just low enough. Very nice Shine Spark chain there.
Yeah, normally you want to go down to that room I was just in and run all the way across the bottom to get a spark there. Saving your Shine Spark up top saves you a couple back and forth.
And we are now picking up the last of the missile upgrades. The fusion missile. The fusion missile acts like a charge beam, where you can charge the missile and it'll shoot out a circle of snowflakes that will freeze everything in its path. It does do 1 damage, I think, only for the freezing effect. But other than that, it's basically the same as your normal super missile.
Yeah, I don't think... Did we talk about instant charging through doors yet? As a fusion mechanic?
Yeah, so if you walk through a door or any room transition while holding a charge beam, you will always come out to the next room with a fully charged beam. So you can hold B for like 2 frames walking through a door, and you will leave that door with your beam fully charged and ready to go. On the same token, you can actually release that beam in the door transition and shoot your charge beam on the very first frame. So you can get off really quick charges if you need to.
And I brought it up now because the diffusion charge is something absurdly long. I think it's 6 or 7 seconds to charge a diffusion missile. So you'll almost always see me charging them through a door just to get them off instantly.
And something like that is very useful for the upcoming speed booster tricks that Nick is going to do, where you need to open doors quickly as you're maintaining your speed booster. So it'll be really fun to see later on during cleanup. And that'll also bring up the R shot, something we haven't talked about yet. Holding a charge beam and pressing the R trigger to activate your missiles will automatically release your charge beam. And another effect of that is that while you're spin jumping, the R shot will not break your spin jump. And Nick actually did it right there. Normally, if you try to release your charge beam while spin jumping, Samus would get off the spin jump animation. Doing an R shot will maintain that spin jump. And also the space jump.
I don't think anything has changed in Sector 6. I think it's the only sector that doesn't actually change in terms of the environment.
I managed to lay that power bomb just one tile too early. It broke half the wall, but not the whole wall. Here's an instance where I want to charge diffusion through the door so I can fire it off instantly. And I didn't get it this time, but these puffers move randomly, and if you just fire it blindly, you have a good chance of just either hitting a puffer or the diffusion effect goes off, and it kind of helps freeze them out of your way.
Oh. No entrance. Without authorization.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. And we have a revisit of a previous boss.
See if I can get a redemption fight on this boss.
Oh, looking oh, never mind. I was just gonna say looking really good so far. If you notice, the boss has now been infected with the parasite.
Where are you
And
going? There we go. There, you got away
it
from me for a
shoots
second.
missiles at you now. So the boss is a little bit harder than the previous visit, because now it shoots missiles at home at you, but also because the ceiling is lower and the boss can actually knock you off the ceiling, versus the first visit where it couldn't.
There we go, I got the blind shot on this time. It froze that puffer before he could get in my way. Even at the end of the game with all the upgrades, those puffers are still really annoying.
They are.
Until you
They
get
release those clouds when they die.
Yeah, until you get screw attack, because there's something about screw attack that makes you invincible while you're using it.
Really cool callback here. You can see the evolutionary stages of the Metroid in the background. You notice that there's a certain one missing, or two.
And now that we're near the end of the game, we found Metroids in the game. And now they're gone. That's it.
Whoops. And now we have Adam scolding Samus, basically.
Yeah, not only did we open the red doors, and not only did we get... I think the plasma beam upset him too. He wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
But then we just ejected part of the VSL into the planet, and that really just upset Adam.
I think it's kind of ironic that the one thing that could save the universe is something that you just tossed out.
Yeah, I didn't think about that part.
If you're not into the lore, the Metroids are the natural predators of the X-Parasites. And since Samus had wiped out all of the Metroids in the previous games, the X-Parasites have now flourished and are running rampant with their predators being extinct. I guess BSL managed to recreate the Metroids and possibly save us from being wiped out by these parasites, and we just kind of threw them away.
Here's the, that was the first of a couple. There's some golden pirates in this game. And the mechanic is they're invulnerable from the front. They want you to get behind them and shoot them in the back. But the game is programmed in a way where you just have to be facing the same direction. So the easy way is to just shoot at them and turn around real fast, and the game thinks you're behind them.
I think it's very intuitive. People say it's a lazy check for the developers, but I think it's intuitive.
I mean, Arachnus, the very first boss in the game, has I think a couple different hitboxes that make up his total character, and he has a front hitbox, and then his shell is like an invulnerable hitbox. That's more intuitive than I thought.
Oh, sorry for loud. Something that you did not see in the previous run. Mr. Ridley himself.
The goal for this fight is your wave beam hurts him for every frame that it's inside him. So to do the most damage, you want to try and get diagonally on Ridley so that your shot spends the most time inside of him. And he's too big for this room to start with, and he also moves erratically, so this fight can either go pretty quickly or pretty poorly depending on how he moves.
I do like how Fusion brings back the actual Ridley theme to the Ridley fight.
And I think that's the last major upgrade of the game, so for an any percent run with a ton of safeties, this run is basically over. We could go to the end of the game and finish it, but for 100%, we're going to go do a victory lap around the entire space station and collect everything we miss.
Yep. Now, we talked about how OP or powerful the charge beam is. The screw attack is just as powerful, with only the SAX and the Omega Metroid being able to break Samus off of the screw attack. Nothing else can get through the screw attack. In other Metroid games, beams or projectiles can hit Samus through a screw attack, but this one is so strong that almost nothing can get through.
Yeah, as long as you're spinning, I don't think anything can touch you, not even environmental damage, like there's some lava later that can still hurt you in the gravity suit, but if you're spinning and screw attack, it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah, I do believe it's only SAX's body and Omega Metroid's body that can actually hurt Samus through screw attack. Because SAX's beam won't touch Samus either.
That's actually the safety strat at the end of the game. If you're struggling against the SAX, you can at least be screw attacking to at least not take damage while you're being shot at. You just gotta not touch the SAX.
What's really cool, another detail, is that, and you'll see it later, I mean, hopefully you won't see it later. If you screw attack into SAX's screw attack, you both cancel each other's screw attacks and knock each other back. That's pretty cool.
I kind of hope we won't see that later, because if I'm screw attacking the SAX, that means something's gone wrong.
Yeah. So you probably won't see it, but that's another very interesting detail.
Although I am notorious for throwing the SAX fight, so we very well might see it. We'll have to wait and see. We're actually coming up on the part of the run. A year or two ago, we used to clean up more of Sector 1. There's one final room at the top of the sector that you have to go through a couple of doors to get to the last item. But with changing the timings to RTA instead of game time, those doors are actually a lot slower than expected. So we're going to leave early and come back through the back door later to get the item with fewer doors. But that's the room I was talking about that has more zombies in that room, so if we wanted to test the zombie screw attack, we could have done it, but we're not going to today.
Yeah, and this is one of the examples I mentioned earlier where the developers just don't know what to do in regards to placing items. So they put 3 in a room or like, 2 in a room. Because there's just nowhere else to put them.
So for now we have all the items in Sector 1 except for one last item, and we'll just be going back to that later for a Sector 1 cleanup. Here's an E-tank that I mentioned earlier. We could have gotten that earlier, but there's bomb blocks in the ceiling that are protected by some other blocks that can be destroyed that make it hard to get, so on your first pass here, it could take a lot of time just to set up a way to get it. Whereas if we wait till now, we can just fall on it. This is actually another room that had a route change, thanks to doing real-time comparison instead of game time. We used to go to the right side of this elevator coming up and clear up that room first, and then we'd get a shine spark on the way back and spark across this whole room going left. And then to leave, we would climb the elevator shaft here. But it turns out that adds a few extra doors. So even though the shine spark is faster to do in the game, it's faster in real time to just do the left side first and leave after clearing this room.
Yep. And then you can shine spark back up. Oh no, you
yeah, you still get the same.
It changes how you exit too. So
yeah, there used to be like a really hard trick where you would store the shine spark before the screw attack blocks, and you'd try to screw the blocks and walk in here and spark without losing it. And with the route change, it trivialized it. You just break the screw attack blocks first, and then you don't have to worry about it. I think we're coming up on the last room in Sector 3, so there's another 2 or 3 items to get here, and that's it for this sector is going to be all clean. Oh.
Yep, and you'll notice Nick will not be using any of the elevators to get around because, as we mentioned earlier, the moment you reach a navigation room, the run is basically over with the amount of items that you have, minus one other one in main deck. As Adam will force you to fight SAX. So we use these back entrances to get around.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to know where all the back doors are in Fusion, we use, I think, every single one of them in the speedrun now. There was a 1 or 2 that we used to skip because you didn't need them, but with the RTA routes, we actually use those now to sneak in to get an extra item. In Sector 5, we got most of the items because we came through Sector 5 3 or 4 times already. So there's just a handful up in the ceiling that are easier to get with Screw Attack and Space Jump, and they're kind of on the way anyways. And now for anyone familiar with watching 100% runs, Sector 6 is usually the highlight of the run, because there's a couple crazy puzzle rooms that either look cool to do right, or they lose a lot of time if you do them wrong. And I'm going to try and do the cool strat here first, and if I fail, I'll go for the safer, slower backup strat. Oops.
Yeah, I love Sector 6.
I'll try that
100%.
one more time. First part. There we go.
Very nice. It saves you from having to do a Shine Spark, which is slow due to the wind up and the bonk.
Not only that, but the Shine Spark doesn't reach the item. You have to spark into this room and either run along the ceiling or the floor to get a second Shine Spark, which is even slower.
Yep.
There's actually another item coming up, which used to require a frame-perfect crumble jump, but one of our runners found a kind of a safety backup strat where you can freeze an enemy to skip the crumble jump, but it's still random if the enemy's even going that way or not, so we can check when we enter the room, and if the enemy's going the wrong way, we still do it the hard way. There is a chance to make it easier.
I think I remember being part of that discussion.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that it was actually made.
I think Scotty did it. I think Scotty did the safe strat in his world record run, which is where I learned how to do it myself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, otherwise it's a very painful frame perfect jump.
I think I messed up the fast setup, but I froze him. He is going the right way, I just gotta set up the... Nope. That's fine, I got the crumble jump there.
Very nice. Oh, and going back. So you're able to jump off of a crumble block, and you have one frame to do it. If not, then they'll just suck you down.
I got so excited I forgot my inputs there and did the wrong move, but the enemy was going the right way, so if I had not panicked, I could bomb that block that I bombed late, and then freeze him with a diffusion shot as he's on the crumble blocks, and it makes that very easy. And this room is just nothing but hidden pillars. Hopefully we'll only see the right pillars that extend and give me a place to speed. But if you bomb the wrong spot, some vertical pillars stick up and they block your path, and you have to leave the room and come back to reset the whole room and try again.
Yeah, and you could also shoot beams at it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to, because then you'll just trigger all of the pillars. So you have to bomb very specific spots.
Alright, I think that's it for Sector 6. There's a little bit of a detour we have to take to get out of the sector, but I think we have all the items already. And then we will go through the back door to Sector 4, but only because it's the quickest way to get to Sector 2. So we don't have any items left to get in Sector 4. And here's a... Oh, you want to go talk about Crumble City?
Yeah, I was going to say Sector 2 is notorious for this puzzle room, the Crumble City, where almost every block here is a crumble block, and you'd have to space jump throughout the room to get to the E-tank and the power bomb tank underneath. So any missed space jump here will cause you to fall all the way down and have to do it again. It's a very interesting room, and Nick's trying to show it off here.
Yeah,
Every single block here.
You don't normally need any power bombs in that room, but I like to power bomb at marathons just to show every single crumble block, making that whole room.
It's very, very fun room. And then the next item is featured in the demo of oh, not this item, but upcoming. Is featured in the demo of Fusion, where it teaches you how to pull off Shine Spark chains. Oh, we're not doing that yet?
Not yet. This is actually...
that's right. We're getting these items first.
Yeah, we're gonna backdoor into Sector 1 just for this powerbomb tank because it's right here next to Sector 2. And this is that one I was talking about where we could get it on the first pass, but there's like 3 or 4 extra doors you gotta go through to get to it.
Another very interesting puzzle room. The intent here is to freeze these rippers in a way that you can platform through. And if you make a mistake, you'll just fall through the crumble blocks. But since there are spaces between the crumble blocks, you can actually re-engage your space jump and just keep jumping through.
Yeah, that one is fortunately a lot easier than a regular crumble jump because of the spaces, so you have a little extra time. You have to be fast, but it's not frame perfect.
And I can see where it can be like where you'd have to do it as intended if you get that item early and not have space jump or sewer attack.
I don't think you even need diffusion to freeze the rippers there, but they probably had diffusion in mind with puzzles like that with freezing multiple enemies.
Yeah.
I think this is the room you're talking about that's shown off in the double, or in the, not the double, the demo.
Yeah. Where it shows that you can actually re-engage your speed booster through an incline, and that the speed booster is faster than the crumble blocks and you can run through them.
Oops.
I think going for the pause buffer... Oh.
I actually got like the shine break on the edge of the crumble block, so I didn't fall through it. It cost me just enough time. It is possible to store a shine spark on the crumble blocks, but you have to press down exactly the frame that you stop pressing left. And it's possible, but a lot easier with a pause buffer.
Yep, and it's just really hard to do without pause buffering.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the items minus one power bomb.
Yeah, I think that's it. Sector 2 is cleaned up. Oops. Got to lay a bomb there. We're gonna go get one more item, which is actually before the last navigation room now. And then listen to Adam fuss at us, and then we'll fight the final boss.
Very nice shot of the reactor room without all the vines and enemies.
And that should be the last item, so for 100% we should have everything. We'll know it shortly at the final fight. I'm gonna pick up the ice core, and that will max out all my health and resources. And if I have 250 missiles and 74 power bombs, that's everything.
There's a
you need.
zombie. There's a zombie.
Oh. Oh no, Adam's gonna lock me in here. I forgot about that zombie. I didn't think he'd still be there. I know he's in here at the very beginning of the game, but some of the zombies disappear after the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe next marathon.
Here we have Samus arguing with Adam regarding what to do about the parasites. And Adam here is saying that he wants to weaponize it or something like that. And Samus is like, no, we have to kill it. So Samus is going to do the most Samus thing a Samus can do, and that's blow something up.
Yeah, I want to say at this point, Samus has been calling the computer Adam in her head when she talks to herself. But she hasn't actually told the computer that she called it Adam until she got so mad in this last cutscene and she said, "Let me out, Adam." And then the computer kind of had a change of heart and said, "Oh, well, if I'm Adam now, I'll let you out."
You see, Adam is a good person. And here comes the fight. Very nice stun lock and a 5 beam fight.
About average. That's another instance where your beam does more damage if it's in the hitbox longer, so you want to try and get diagonals if you can, just for that extra damage and save you a shot on the boss.
Propulsion sequence activated.
Oh boy, 3 minutes to get out.
I just realized the memory corruption run earlier is probably the most non-canon way to end Fusion. I don't think we saved the animals, we didn't blow up the ship, we didn't take care of the Metroids, we just kind of left.
Yeah.
Now in this run, I think I get to clean up all the mess and complete the game.
Yeah, Samus said, nah, I'm going home. You know, 3 minutes doesn't seem like a lot of time, but Samus is in a power suit, right? If you were there as a normal person from the control deck, going down to the docking bay, I think you'd take you like maybe 10 minutes. So you'd probably be dead.
Well, I guess it depends on if you have your BSL issued speed booster that you need to open the green doors.
Ah, that's true.
That might help you get to your car after you tell the ship to explode. As a normal person.
And here is a question that a lot of runners are trying to debate. Is SAX trying to save Samus, or is SAX just trying to hunt the Omega? That's something that has never been kind of resolved within our community yet.
I want to say the Adam text at the end here, Adam's probably guessing himself, but he wants to say the SAX thought, my best chance of survival is powering up this thing that can kill the Metroid. Even at the cost of the planet. Oh, yeah,
And-
that was time. I kind of got
Yeah.
sucked into the lore. When I get into the ship, that's time.
Yeah.
Sorry, when I start thinking about Metroid lore, my day just starts slipping away.
But yeah, GG. That was Metroid Fusion 100%.
Yeah. So we got confirmation technically by seeing my ammo at the top. If we want to sit through the credits, they are a couple minutes long. I'm not sure if we're ahead or behind schedule. But depending on how the time looks, we can either watch the credits or go ahead and take a break before Zero Mission.
I'll leave it up to the organizer.
That is totally fine, guys. Thank you so much for that run. That was awesome.
Hey, thanks for having me. And
No worries. All right, everybody, we'll be back in just a moment here. We're just going to take a really quick moment, and then we'll be right back with Zero Mission.